this is mine. Welcome to Jogbait.
Hi, Mark here again. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about slow pitch jigs, which really is not my forte. I should get Sergey, my son, to talk about that because that's something that he's quite interested in on the slow pitch jigs. But I wanted to talk about these iron pieces a bit. We've had on the West Coast, our typical irons have been from Tady and Salas. And over the years, many other names were out there. And these are pieces of somewhat similar shape. We have surface iron versions, we've got deep iron, the heavy iron, various sizes, various shapes, they swim differently. And these are really, really effective lures. That's our yellowtail lure of choice. We have some that are made for, tuna, other species, but that's what our West Coast iron has been. And then, maybe 15 years or so ago, we started seeing more of the Asian jigs out here, the knife jigs, heavy pieces, and made to be fished fast. A lot of work up and down, up and down. And they can be quite effective, as folks found. And they were kind of big in the market, and then they had their kind of niche among certain anglers, kind of have faded out from a lot of the suppliers that were big before. Maybe too much stuff was coming. They've been in the Asian market for a long time. Another one of the lures in the Asian market were the slow pitch type jigs, as we call them now. And they had a different shape. Instead of being the fast drops, let me, in fact, show you. Okay, let's have a couple of examples. On those speed jigs, we had a few different shapes. This would be, there are many, many different variants to these guys. The wedge, the slash lure is one we've produced. This is an older jig, again, speed jigs, number of sizes, shapes, forms, you name it, on the market. And they're made to be fished relatively quick. You get a bit on the drop, then you bring it back up, down, up, down, over and over again. Well, same story, with the slow pitch jigs, but the shape changes. These guys are more like a leaf in terms of shape, and they're made to have a flutter on the way down, and that's what, elicits the strike. A number of different styles of these things. But they all share that in common, that they're somewhat flattened and oval in shape, and they have more of a flutter on the drops. It's a slower drop. And so, bring them in, drop them down, bring them in, drop them down. And they've been really effective on the big bluefin tuna we've had out here. They've been a lure of choice. And, the way it works, bluefin are kind of curious. And they will come by a boat and look if they're out there. If you've got one person putting the jigs down, as Andy Cates on the Red Rooster said, about a week ago, when we were fishing it, a week and a half ago, said, they do a lot better when more of you guys are at the rail, dropping these things up and down and up and down and up and down. It's a lot of work, but that makes the fish curious, and sure enough, one of them's going to bite, and that's what's been happening over the last few years here. Guys have used these for pretty good effect on the bluefin. It's kind of funny on these bluefin. We started with the poppers being the hot ticket to get bit, and then it went to the flying fish, and then use of kites, and then now on the vertical jigs. I'll tell you, they've always taken iron. I've taken these things, the bluefin, on a Tady number 9 with a single hook. So they'll eat the iron, but the different techniques work really, really well. Now, the slow pitch jigs, we sell, at this point in time, 3 variants of that style of lure. And let's see here, as far as examples of that. Jim's jigs are, as we call them, fall flats. Well rigged, oval shape, nice cosmetics. The squish from Savage Gear is another good one. Basically, it looks like a fish on one side, and maybe you could say it looks like a cuttlefish or a squid on the other. Those are awfully nice jigs. But strangely, Tady came out with these things. And the Taddies are a different shape. They're lighter for their size. So example, this is 120 grams, this physical size. This would be, oh, what are we saying here, 130 grams, and you know, a little different size and shape. This is Jim's jig at 125, and it's a good deal. Smaller than is the Tady. The Tady's going to have more flutter on the drop, and that's the reason why we pull it in. Tady is not known for this style of jig. This is a different animal for them, but I'll be darned, they came out with something that's unique. Their hooks are good, and they've done a really, really nice job on these pieces. Shape being the difference. Before getting into the various models within Tady, I do want to talk about the rigging of these pieces a little bit. What we do for school-sized tuna in terms of rigging is not what we do for the big bluefin that can be 300 pounds and greater. A fish of that size is going to open up split rings on your lures. So what we recommend to people, and my God, have I seen a lot of these jigs rigged different ways. I've seen some for other shops where people will rig up, they'll have big hook on the back end, and they'll have dangling hooks in front, and oftentimes it's coming off the metal here. The way these things should be made, or rigged up, would be hooks on a solid ring. I don't know if we can see that clearly enough here or not, but the hook is on a solid ring. The line is attached to the solid ring with a chafing spring here, and then that's it. That's basically it. And that's the drop and flutter. And we have seen these things come back from anglers that have been successful catching a fish where, dag nabbit, all they got back was the solid ring and the hooks and the fish. The jig is gone. It opened up a heavy split ring that may be rated for 250 pounds or greater, but they've opened up. So, this is the way we will rig lures up for people who ask us to rig them. On a small fish, it's not going to make a big difference. But my gosh, we've seen these things set up so many different ways. Some, they'll try and have a solid ring, connect the line to that perhaps, but put the hooks onto the split ring. That's a no-no. Or have dangling hooks all over the back side, front side. Now we're depending upon a small piece of metal here with no idea of really what test this thing is going to hold up at. Small fish aren't going to break your heart. Big fish will. And big fish, if things aren't done properly, are going to fail on you. So consider your rigging. If it's schooly type fish, not a problem. You're not going to have big issues, and you can work things differently. But I'll still say, even in the case of Jim's jig here, we want to be connecting to that solid ring. That's best, by far. But you don't have to on the schoolies. You do have to on the big ones. Side story. On the Red Rooster, a week and a half ago when we were out, we were fishing, these big bluefin at night. The first night we ran back up into that area off the Cortez Bank, near San Clemente, down from Catalina. And, the first good fish we got was from an angler that was real lucky. Why was he real lucky? Well, he got bit, number one. Number two, once they gaffed that fish and dropped it on the deck, the whole hook rig fell out of the fish's mouth. The lure popped out. What had happened was, in his excitement, he left on the little plastic covering the hooks. And so the hook never penetrated the jaw of the fish. The fact that he kept pressure on the fish was what got it. It should have lost that sucker. But he kept the pressure on. That says a lot for the angler. If he'd released pressure at any point in time, that sucker would have been gone.
Started? Okay. We've got some new jigs from Tady. They just came out with these, brand new. They're going to be the tuna TSP jigs. So originally they released a TSP slow pitch jig, which is going to be a little bit longer, more for slow pitch jigging versus our conventional jigging. And they recently came out with a new tuna style jig for our market. Last few weeks we've been getting a ton of giant bluefin on big jigs, and it's pretty much the most reliable way to consistently get them here. So they released a couple of bigger sizes as well as a different shape that actually has a better action. So they're going to come in 120 grams, 250 grams, and 320 grams. So pretty big jigs up to the bigger size. They've also got a couple of different rigging options. These ones are just done in-house for Tady. They've got ball bearing swivels as well as larger welded hooks. That way, it's a lot more reliable connection versus doing assist hooks to a splint ring to a solid ring. So if you want to use bigger J hooks, definitely go this route. It's a little bit more expensive, but for a 200-pound tuna, it's definitely worth it. So they've got 4 different shapes, or 4 different sizes, or 3 different sizes, 4 colors. So you've got kind of a sardine pattern, they call it, I believe a blue. They've got a green pattern, which is going to be this one. We've got a chartreuse, and then a pink blue. Now the best part about these jigs is that they are all glow on the back as well. So you have a striped glow as well as the chrome pattern on all of the jigs, which for whatever reason has been biting a lot better the last few weeks than all glow or just all color jigs. So this is a nice touch, definitely for the deeper water. It's going to work out better. You're going to need some kind of glow, especially night fishing, which is when most of the tuna are being caught. Last 2 weeks we've been getting more, people getting consistent bites on these bigger jigs. So definitely pick one up if you're going out. Short day range trips and long range, all fishing the same area. So I definitely get some of these.